I am going to grant the motion to dismiss FANI WILLIS in her individual capacity. Having said that, however, I'm denying the motion to dismiss FANI WILLIS as the DA, and I'm denying the motion to dismiss the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, and here's why. Number one, as to Madam D.A. Willis, the District Attorney, I agree, has some broad immunity that attaches. But I agree with the plaintiffs that the traditional understanding of immunity that attaches to a district attorney was not intended to limit or inhibit the public's right to access non-prosecutorial documents, non-investigative documents.
Did you earlier say that you just wanted to get someone locked up?
Yeah, I said it.
Okay. Were you willing to lie to just get someone locked up?
Yeah, being in my frame of mind, yes, I will.
They can look. I'm sorry they pissed off. Justice is now actually blind. Lady Justice is blind. Everybody can get it.
Minimizing disruptions in court, how many witnesses there are to go, and what you expect those witnesses to say.
Everybody can get it.
What up, family? Hit that like button.
Not really, but
hit that subscribe button.
Have asked for mistrials.
Let's get
It
into
was a goal of my predecessor and any person or prosecutor in this office to make sure that
Justice is now actually blind. Lady Justice is blind. Everybody can get it.
Let's try to conduct court in a way that minimizes
very
disruption.
shortly after me becoming the DA, I sat down with Mr. Thomas's mother and I made her a promise.
There is a rule that lets me exclude cumulative evidence, and I might end up using that.
I was a prosecutor, as you know, for 16 years, 4 months, and 4 days in this office. The murder of Donovan Thomas in 2015 created violence like Atlanta has never seen.
Justice is now actually blind. Lady Justice is blind. Everybody can get it.
Not really, but several parties have asked for mistrials, I think, because things are moving so slowly.
One last question, I'm sorry. How significant was the arrest of Christian Eppinger with regard to the timeline of this indictment? Like, I had been looking at it where that arrest set off this 90-day clock, but I'm reasonably certain you were looking at YSL before all of this. Did that create a sort of a time situation where you wanted to get this done?
No.
To re-engage?
Yo, let's get it started. Like I said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. What up, Fatima Barrett? What up, Watch the Rise? Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Tat Clouds. What up? Jazzy T, what up, family? I see y'all, appreciate y'all. Let's get right up into it. Hey yo, peace, family. Welcome back to Flesh of the God.
For a quick interview to talk about the YSL case coming to a wrap up really quick.
It's not wrapped up.
It's about to be, though. Could we maybe talk about...
I'm here today to fight for my reputation, to fight for the youth of Fulton County, but also for the truth.
On the agenda, we're not going to deal with it. Although when I met with Commissioner Morris and Commissioner Hall and Commissioner Hausman, they all said, but you told us about this in January. Exactly. And since January, we've been doing the work. See, if my people treat any one of you like this, this is what they can each tell you. They're going to be fired that day.
Fucking nuts.
I'll deal with the consequences later.
I'm here today to fight for my reputation.
This is what they can each tell you. They're going to be fired that day. I'll deal with the consequences later.
I'm here today to fight for my reputation, to fight for the youth of Fulton County, but also for the truth.
Of playing you all's games in finance, because that's all they are. Everybody wants to move the goalpost when we get to the end. Ain't your money, ain't your money, ain't your money, your money, your money, ain't your money, ain't your money. It's been approved here, and I'm going to spend it accordingly. And the next time...
Fucking run it! Get his ass!
Fucking nuts.
I don't like blacks coming to my fucking house. I can't. I got him.
Former Fulton County District Attorney employee Amanda Timpson says she wants people to know what's happening by Fulton County's top cop and her office with claims of blatant misuse of funds with federal grant money. Timpson voluntarily reached out and went before the Senate Special Committee on Investigations as they investigate Fulton County District Attorney FANI WILLIS. Timpson claims she worked to get a grant for the department under the direction of former DA Paul Howard. When Willis was elected, she says her team wanted the money for equipment, travel, and swag that also includes computers. Timpson claims this is illegal and directly outlawed in the terms of the grant. Timpson also says many so-called at-risk youth in the program weren't at risk or even a resident of the county, let alone the state.
Everybody went around and said what school they attended and where they're from, and there were many students who were outside of the state, outside of the county.
How can they do their job adequately?
I want to talk to you a little bit more. I'd love to get your response to some criticism about these multi-defendant indictments that your office is doing. YSL, the election interference. Some say, or they see, you quickly trying to get those to trial where there are individuals at the jail that have been waiting years for their cases to go to trial. When you look at it, that some people say that's not fair.
But when people file speedy trial demands, no matter what level of case it is, we have a case right now that the public will never pay attention to. Speedy trial is a complex case, meaning a trial division case, so not a sexual assault, not a murder case. That defendant filed a speedy on time and we'll have to try him. And so those cases are always going to take precedent where defense attorneys file them. I don't think we are trying to move those cases any faster than any of the others. I guess it just depends on who the criticism comes from. Some say we took too long.
I think it's criminal defense attorneys who have defendants in the jail or out of the jail just waiting years for their case to go to trial.
Each of them could have filed a speedy trial demand. They know the process, and if they had done that, their case would have been brought to trial quickly.
They weren't able to even do that up until like last year. Chief Glanville put a stay on those speedy trials.
Well, that was for the entire state.
Yeah.
Glanville did it for us. But what was to happen during COVID when you couldn't bring juries here to hear cases because people would die? So that is not something that lays on the foot of anyone. It was a pandemic in this country. And sometimes the evidence is just not there. The police got the wrong person once you dig a little deeper, and they're declined. And so people have a right to do that. They may not seem like a lot, because what does that tell you? 88% of the time we're going to bring the charges that the police got. But if you are in that 12%, you want to make sure you don't get that indictment.
She took a long ass time.
The city of Atlanta and in Fulton County. Timpson says the more she pushed back, the more retaliation she received, including a demotion and ultimately her abrupt firing. Willis was not present at the hearing, but this comes just days after she clinched the Democratic primary win.
Challenge me on my budget, but Akeem wanted what I tell him. I'd rather see him in the classroom than in the courtroom.
Those senators against the formation of the committee fought back, calling Timpson a Republican political pawn.
This point is becoming very frustrating because we are now at the point of completely wasting time, not only the time of federal senators, but the time of the people of the state of Georgia, and quite frankly, even this country.
Committee Chair Republican Bill Cowster says he's still waiting for District Attorney Willis to accept their invitation to testify and says they will subpoena if necessary.
She said as recently as this morning that nobody is above the law. She's saying that out of one side of her mouth, and out of the other side, she's saying, I am above the law. I will not comply.
Worked very, very efficiently, although I understand
she is above the law. What up, Che? Tat, 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 clouds. Chad My Black is golden. I see y'all. Appreciate y'all. FFS, Jazzy T.
Last week, my grand jury was like, we gotta go. We have to go. We're mentally tired because we're working them very, very hard. They're very admirable citizens who sit and do that for a 2-month period. But that is something that has helped to cut down on the backlog because it is much better than it was, but it needs to get better.
I was about to say, when I first
file is a person being charged life. That's a huge thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
There's a victim's life, there's the witness, and there's a community. And so the minute that you start looking at these cases as just files, it's time for you to get out of this business. You always have to look at those people as individuals and to look at what happened. Did we actually have a crime? And then as a lawyer, you have to be very analytical. Can you prove it? That's one of the frustrating things of being a prosecutor. Sometimes you feel like they did it, but you don't have the...
Did y'all prove that Yak Gotti was guilty? Nope. he was found not guilty, but you still kept him in jail anyway, so that was a lie.
Evidence to prove they did it, and in those cases we have to decline. Sometimes
yeah,
we
why
decline.
Why not track how many cases you're declining to
I'm sure we
prosecute?
could go back, but what I've been very meticulous about tracking indictments and tracking the number of open cases, and I follow those jail numbers. They keep me up at night.
Off rip, the jail itself is deteriorating. The walls are crumbling down, and inmates are creating shanks out of the walls. So you can go inside of the wall and get you a knife. You can go inside of your light and fix yourself up something and stab somebody next to you, just because they have nothing else to do. More importantly, we as inmates, we have to then start defending ourselves. If people are going to start stabbing us because there are people that don't care there, and that's just on them, but when people are put in jail for a period of time to where we're just supposed to be there to sit and wait to get to court, so wait for a bond or wait to get there, we shouldn't have to be subject to being stabbed or having instruments pulled on us. And then you have mold everywhere in the jail. I've been there for 16 months, and luckily I'm in a different facility now, but it's a lot of people that are in the jail due to overcapacity, and we're putting more and more people inside of the jail, but not creating solutions to where we're cleaning up the jail or we're replacing the broken things that are there. It doesn't work. And for me, I'm lucky, but I also had 4 knives pulled on me at once. I had knives put to my throat, and I had to call my mom telling them, please wire somebody some money or I'm gonna be killed. Nobody should be subject to that at a jail where you're supposed to be waiting to get your day in court. And that just does not work for the inmates at Fulton County Jail.
I heard a whole troop that they took what? Blue, red, black man, you ain't get shit back. Strong man, nigga, you small, you don't want that. Everywhere you go, you get shot at. Show up where you spot at. Hey, I ain't playing, I'ma spray that. Then one of you pussies say some shit back.
Let's do it.
And so I'm not here to play with you. I don't even play the radio. So you can figure this out, or you can run for sheriff. Try that one out. Because I'm here to tell you, quite simply, the women and men of the Fulton County Sheriff's Office are doing yeoman's work. They come to work when other people think that what they do doesn't matter. They come to work with the least of these. And not just detainees that have to face these everyday things that are happening. But we got people that come to work, put a uniform on, and for you to disrespect them in a fashion that I'm asking for something, I ask to increase their pay.
Ain't your money, ain't your money. Ooh, look at this little fake money. Get right up, sick and tired of this shitty ass rabbit stinks. I know. It smells like pussy. You want it? It smells like the household. They smell like a pile of bullshit.
What up, no one? What up, Charlie Hager? Been a while. See y'all. Appreciate you, family.
For a quick interview to talk about the YSL case coming to a wrap up really quick.
It's not wrapped up.
It's about to be, though. Could we maybe talk about, you relied heavily on getting those murder convictions in the YSL case, but no one was convicted in this. What's your message to taxpayers who may say that this was a waste of taxpayer money and their time?
What I want to say to you as a reporter, and I want your other reporters to be responsible, is you keep going to defense attorneys who put their children in private schools, in communities that are not our communities, and really don't care about the African American community. What you need to understand is there were 19 convictions. 7 I decided to null pros, mostly because they were doing life sentences on murder. Just yesterday, Channel 2, an affiliate, covered a YSL murder of a 21-year-old mother in front of her 2-year-old child. And go look at the statistics, crime is down. So what taxpayers that I say, what my constituents say who just voted me by 68% is she's doing an amazing job. We are making sure that this community is safe, that crime is the lowest here of most places in the United States of America. I think we're like number 3, and it's because of the efforts I have done against gangs. Stop glorifying violence and stop making it that some victims don't matter, because victims of all races, of all socioeconomic status matter. So stop talking to attorneys that don't don't live in Fulton at all. They live in safe neighborhoods. Their children go to Lady Justice is blind. Everybody can hear you. They matter to me.
Respectfully, Ms. Willis, I asked you about the two murder convictions that never came
Lady
through.
Justice
What's
is
your
blind.
message to taxpayers
Everybody can hear you.
and to the taxpayers that may have
My message to taxpayers is it was an amazing time. We had 19 convictions. The community is safer. We made sure that we got the resolutions we want. If they're unhappy with sentencing, they should elect other judges.
And you also relied heavily on the RICO law that you had
And
too.
I'm going to continue to rely on it because it works, it's effective, and it tells jurors the full message.
But other people may say with the other people that it wasn't
Other people weren't
effective.
elective as a DA.
Look, she refused to answer the question. He asked you, what do you think about how people feeling about you wasting their money? What are you talking about? Then she gonna try to walk off with an attitude. Mad because your hair ain't done and you got caught off guard. That's your job. You a public official. Got caught slipping, that's all.
That's the result she wanted. This is the result she wanted. Does anyone believe that this is the result she wanted? If this is the result she wanted, then I question her goal setting abilities and objectives.
What an absolute pile of manure.
No, I think come on, it's a steaming pile of shit. She is doing her best to spin an outcome that is.
Charlie say Fanny got about 30 days to pay that $54,000 she owed to Ashley Merchant in her law firm. That's a fact.
Not her desired outcome. That was and you know what? A few things. I live in a safe neighborhood. Yeah, I've heard that from her before, that I live in a safe neighborhood, implying that she lives in some. I mean, why is she raising her kids in an unsafe neighborhood? I know her phone pings around Hateville all the time, around Nathan Wade.
We need a yes or no. Let's just get down to it. Did you or did you not, by May the 30th, 2023, have had sexual relations with Miss Willis, yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Now, what you did is you answered no to that question, didn't you, or none, correct?
I didn't answer no to the question you just asked. I answered no to the interrogatory question.
Bruh.
Yes, ma'am. 184, 824, yes, ma'am.
And then in 2020, you also filed Nathan Wade, attorney at law, and your gross profit was $230,000, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And in 2021, you also filed as a solo Nathan Wade PC attorney at law, and your gross profit was $236,000.
Sweetie!
Yes, ma'am.
And then in 2022, you filed as a solo practitioner Nathan Wade, and your gross income was $262,000, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Have a good night. Have a good night. Have a motherfucking good ass night. You document that you received cash payments from Miss Willis, correct?
I don't. I hadn't looked through them. I would be surprised if there were something in there that said that.
Do you want to look through them?
Listen to the answer. I'd be shocked if there was something in there that said that I received some cash from Miss Willis.
Okay. But there is itemized expenditures for travel in here. You did itemize that.
I didn't itemize anything. My
Your accountant itemized it.
I hope so.
But you're responsible for your taxes, even if your accountant files them, right?
I agree.
And so you itemized your expenses for travel on all these documents, but you did not itemize. You didn't put anything in there about you being reimbursed for half of that travel.
Well, those are business returns.
Yes, you used your business card to pay for the travel, right?
But I wouldn't put a personal expense on a business return.
Well, but you used a business card to pay for these personal travel.
I use a business card to pay for everything, and what I do is turn over the statement to the accountant, and the accountant then
to pay for these personal travel.
I use a business card to pay for everything, and what I do is turn over the statement to the accountant, and the accountant then says, okay, this expense, that's personal, we'll put that over here. This expense, that's business, we'll put that over here. And they reconcile it. So you wouldn't find a reimbursement from Miss Willis on a business return.
Okay, so they're not anywhere there.
Nor would you find, well, go ahead.
No, I'm just asking. So there's nowhere for any of that cash to be reconciled there, right?
On the business returns, no, ma'am.
Okay.
We talked a lot about the financial affidavits. I know the state asked you a couple questions about them. You filed one in 2022. In that one, you stated that you only had $5,000 in cash, correct? Check.
Ma'am, I don't have checks.
Okay. So you have no proof of any reimbursement for any of these things because it was all cash, right?
The testimony of one witness is enough to prove a fact.
So my
Are you
question was,
telling
do
me
you
that
have
I'm
any
lying
proof?
to you? Is that what you're intimating right here?
I'm asking if you have any proof that you paid from any of these
The
monies.
proof is what I just told you.
There's no written proof. Is that correct?
So I have some, probably some transactions like in Belize. I probably spent $500 on my card in Belize. I spent I can't remember, $900 on each of our tickets to go to Belize. I did the $700. I probably got some minor expenses in Aruba that would be on a card. But for the most part, for those trips, other than, so the 2 cruises, I gave him money for those before we ever left. Because they were pre-booked. Let me answer.
Well, the question was if you had any written proof. And so
I've answered you that I've had written
we
proof.
can move to the next question. If you've answered if you had any written proof, and that was my question.
I want to make sure that we're clear that for the 2 cruises,
Judge, I asked if she gave him written proof.
We're not going to talk over each other. Ms. Merchant, she answered your question, so we can ask the next question. Ms. Cross will have plenty of opportunities to clarify the answer. It's your turn.
Knowing your role as district attorney, you know that public funds are scrutinized and money is scrutinized and things like that. You understand.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You understand you're under a microscope. You have reporting requirements, all of those types of things. You have no record other than your testimony of the money that you've given Mr. Wade.
You've already asked that question. Let's keep going.
When you took office, you had a tax lien of $4,600. Did you pay that with cash when you made that tax lien whole?
I probably paid through.
The truth is, you are a liar.
Okay. So, but you were saying that you had amounts of cash. You still had that lien in 2022 when you were dating Wade and going on these trips. So the cash that you gave him, that could have been used to pay the tax lien off?
You gonna tell me how to pay my bills?
I'm going to object. This is not relevant as it relates to why we're here today.
Ms. Merchant, are you trying to establish that she was insolvent in some way?
I definitely was trying to establish that she did not have these mass amounts of cash that she's talking about, yes.
All right. Re-ask the question.
You had a tax lien in 2022, $4,600.
Did you say I did?
And you did not use this cash that you had to reimburse Mr. Wade to pay that off, correct?
No.
Okay.
I went shopping too and I didn't pay it off.
And you talked about, you gave a lot of interviews to some authors of a book called Finding Willis, right?
I would not characterize it as a lot. I probably have spoken to them 2 or 3 times.
My question is relevant as to...
The truth is, you are a liar.
Finances are discussed in the book. I'll overrule that.
Thank you.
Ms. Wilson, you can continue your answer.
What came up with Mr. Wade as it relates to hearsay statements that he was asked about in relation to what Ms. Willis may or may not have said in relation to an author. So it's not relevant to testimony that's occurring at this time.
I think Ms. Merchant has said that inside the book, she also makes a statement as to her own finances, and that's at issue.
So you gave interviews to the authors of this book, correct?
Once or twice.
Okay. And
just to be comprehensive, I don't know if it was 3 times, 2 or 3 times, I think.
You were quoted in the book, and I will give you a chance to say if this is a misquote. You were quoted, when they asked you about if you wanted to run for office for DA, you were quoted, "I really don't want to be financially effed up again." Do you remember saying that?
So what that refers to,
My question first is if you remember saying that.
I remember saying something similar to that, but I would like to be able to explain what that's in reference to. That's not in reference to anything else. It was a huge sacrifice to be district attorney in Fulton County. Huge. I was doing just fine. I had a municipal court judgeship that was paying me $100-something a year, and like you got to show up twice a week. Easiest thing I've ever done in life. I also had private clients that were paying me to represent them, so I was able to have a law practice and that. Raising 2 daughters by myself, there were times in life where things were hard, and so I was telling people, I don't really run for DA. I don't want to run for DA. I'm in a good position right now. I got this easy job that I enjoy, being the chief judge of the city of South Fulton. I'm making money at the law firm, and I'm not sure that I want to make this sacrifice. And why does it always have to be me? Eventually, I prayed. I think that I was the appropriate person. I think that I did that. So when you're referring to that, what I'm saying is, why should I make a sacrifice again? And what I was not talking about is being district attorney. Once you get elected district attorney, you're in a fine financial position. I make over $200,000 a year. What I was talking about is I ran for judge. When I ran for judge, I took $50,000 of my personal money out of my retirement, and that money ended up being lost. And I know when you bet on yourself, you're going to have to bet money on yourself. And so what I was talking about was not wanting to go through the personal financial expense of running for office. By no means did I think that I was going to be financially in a bad position once I won. Let's talk about what I was up against, because it's important to understand that comment. I had a district attorney who had been here for 24 years.
And Judge,
people, no, it's very relevant as to what my mindset was about this. So I'm trying to answer your question. So what I was saying is
tailored solely to finance.
Right, but it is about my finances. If I didn't, nobody put me in this seat. So I had already run for office once. I had spent $50,000 of my own money running, and it was vamoose, nothing. And so when I'm talking to those offers, I'm talking about the contemplation of the sacrifice of the run, not the sacrifice of once you become DA. The odds were against me. I was likely going to lose the election based on who I was running against. So that needs to be in the appropriate context.
Isn't it true that the authors also wrote, and you can dispute this if you'd like, that you were broke after that race?
The 2018 race?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a hard race. I wasn't broke like I didn't have any. So broke is relative to depending where you are, but that hurt to lose that $50,000. So I'm sure my mental mindset was like, I just gave $50,000 away.
Right. So they characterized it from their conversations with you that you were broke, you had poured your own money into the campaign, and you weren't able to pay your own bills because of your clients couldn't pay their bills to you, and you had a paltry array of family and asset forfeiture cases. It says you were trying to make it month to month. Is that an accurate depiction of your financial situation at that point?
I would want to read that, but I don't remember clients not being able to pay their bills. Or
may I approach, Judge?
You can.
You may.
I have not read this book.
Bernicia Williams,
And
what up,
present
though?
means the filing on May the 30th, 2023. Isn't that right?
It is.
So as of May the 30th, 2023, you had done a lot of entertaining of Miss Willis, had you not?
I had done some, yes.
And in fact, under your testimony, you would have said that she had also entertained you. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And so your answer to this interrogatory is false, is it not, sir?
No, it's not false.
Well, I hate to dance around the answer is yes, you did entertain Miss Willis, correct? Right?
Yes.
She's not your spouse at that time or any time, correct?
That's correct.
She's not related to you by blood or marriage, correct?
That's correct.
But you entertained her, right?
Yes.
And during the course from your marriage, the period of time up to the present, so the answer would have been, yes, I did entertain somebody, correct?
During the course of the marriage, no.
The truth is that you are a liar.
Mr. Wade.
Mr. Gillen, I think we've made our point. I think it speaks for itself, and we can save that for argument.
With one quick question. Do you understand what the word present means?
Your Honor, I said ask.
I think
now, what has happened, followed with one quick question. Do you understand what the word present means?
Your Honor, I said ask.
I think we did cover that already as well.
Okay.
Ruling did not go far enough. Former President Trump's attorney saying, quote, while respecting the court's decision, we believe that the court did not afford appropriate significance to the prosecutorial misconduct of Willis and Wade. He also promised to continue to fight the case. And defense attorney Ashley Merchant, who led the efforts to get the DA disqualified, says she believes Willis's office should have been disqualified entirely, but says the judge, quote, clearly agreed with the defense that the actions of Willis are a result of poor judgment and that there is a risk to the future of the case if she doesn't quickly work to cure her conflict.
Well, from a criminal indictment against former President Donald Trump to the top prosecutor in the case stepping down, let's take a look at how we got to this point. February 10th, 2021, Fulton County District Attorney FANI WILLIS announces a criminal probe into alleged election interference. In November of that year, Willis hired Nathan Wade as special prosecutor on the case. On August 14th, 2023, former President Donald Trump and 18 others are indicted. And then on January 8th of this year, Ashley Merchant, the defense attorney for Michael Roman, filed her motion to disqualify Willis, kicking off this entire situation. On February 2nd, DA Willis and Special Prosecutor Wade confirmed their relationship in a court filing. And then on February 15th, they testified about that relationship during a hearing to determine whether or not they should be disqualified. That brings us to today, when the judge decided Wade must leave the case or Willis and her office must step aside. That was this morning, but just before 3:30 this evening, Wade resigned from the case.
Hapeville, I mean, it has some very nice areas as well. She doesn't live on Cleveland Avenue. Let me put it that way. You know, when I head to Brownsville Golf Course at 6 a.m., I'm not driving by FANI Willis's house. You get that?
I mean, the audacity, because FANI Willis, to my knowledge, has never lived in any hood. I don't. Well, I did some research, and I must say I have not found any addresses of hers in dangerous neighborhoods.
You know why she did such a bad job on that interview? It is because it was more of an ambush interview that she, was just approached. She will generally only speak to a single reporter in all of print and all of television media. There's one reporter she'll speak to who, in general, is a very good reporter. But with her, he pitches softballs because that's how he gets access to her. So she'll only speak to this one reporter, and she doesn't have to handle hard questions. So this is what you see when she has to answer a legitimate question. And then, may I just continue my rant for a moment? Because you can't shut me up on this one. I mean, I will if I'm your guest, so if you tell me to, I'll shut up.
Go ahead.
But I figure, and of course, I give my unfiltered thoughts. Well, no, they're filtered. I mean to say all of this, which is, he's a shitty DA. This idea that if you don't like the results, the sentences, you should replace the judge. Now, listen, these are, for the most part, negotiated pleas. Her office is agreeing to these sentences.
Yeah.
For the most part. Not always. I was at Garlington's. They wanted a stricter sentence. However, the sentence that she gave Mr. Garlington, the reason that Judge Whitaker gave that sentence is it's consistent, even though that was a non-negotiated. It was consistent with the prior negotiated pleas that, once again, FANI Willis's office had agreed to. So for her to blame this crappy outcome on, and by the way, this was a just outcome for the most part, but for her to blame this outcome on Judge Whitaker? No, there are different people we need to elect in Fulton County, but those different people are not Judge Whitaker. That different person is FANI Willis.
This officer is a problem or that officer is a problem. Sometimes we have had problems in like a category of maybe officers not taking drugs to the lab, and that's a no-no because I've told you how long it takes to get the drugs tested. So it's very important that when they make an arrest within days, certainly if not the same day, within 72 hours or so, that those drugs get to the lab. Those are categorical problems. The other things I've found to be individual.
It's so interesting sitting down with so many individuals that are the top elected individuals in Fulton County's criminal justice system, and they all say different things of why the jail the way it is.
Truth is, you are a liar.
The sheriff will say, "I'm caught in the middle. I'm just supposed to house them. Yes, I need a new jail," but like he believes that the problem will still exist, the overcrowding issue, because of the court backlog. When you ask Chairman Pitts, he says it's the judges. They're not doing enough. They're lazy, or some of them are lazy. When I reach out, when you give me your explanation, it's multiple things. I need more resources. We need more judges. We need more resources at GBI. Why is it so impossible to get a consensus of what's What's the problem?
Well, Commissioner Pitts has not been to law school and he's never worked a day in the criminal justice system. So he's really not in a position to give an analysis of what's being done or what's not being done. I can never recall a day that Commissioner Pitts sat and watched court proceedings. So it's an unfair statement to say you at least have to be a part of a problem and a part of the solution.
Hey man, listen man, fuck them, man. You know what's going on, man. Hey man, just keeping the movement going, bro, like you told me, bro. You know what I mean? How this shit go. Hey, what the fuck we beat over? What we beat this shit? Hey man, you know, hey, let them, oh bro, I got to let you know we right in the red zone.
Breaking right now on Up Late, a local rapper wanted for murder is behind bars. Atlanta police say YFN Lucci, whose real name is Rayshawn Bennett, turned himself in tonight. He is charged with the death of James Adams from about a month ago on Peoples Street. There was another person also shot, but that person survived.
Facing a judge. A Fulton County judge denied bond for an Atlanta rapper charged with murder. YFN Lucci, whose real name is Rayshawn Bennett, is charged in the death of James Adams. You can hear the 911 calls as neighbors plead for help.
Baby, can y'all please get an ambulance here? This man is dying. He just took his last breath, man.
The shooting happened about a month ago on Peoples Street. He's one of 3 suspects charged in the shooting.
More news here in Atlanta. Atlanta rapper YFN Lucci was released just a year after he was sentenced to prison. These are pictures as he reunited with his family. The rapper, whose real name is Rayshawn Bennett, he pleaded guilty to 1 count of violation of the Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act. He was sentenced to 20 years with 10 to serve, but after nearly 3 years in jail before sentencing, he's now free due to parole recommendation.
When they say there's a young woman, a young racist in Atlanta, she's a racist, and they say, I guess they say that she was after a certain gang and she ended up having an affair with the head of the gang or a gang member. And this is a person that wants to indict me. She's got a lot of problems, but she wants to indict me to try and run for some other office. What's going on in this country is, and by the way, wants to indict me for a perfect phone call. This was even better than my perfect call with Ukraine.
That is that FANI WILLIS was letting Big Nut all up in that fanny. That's right, you heard it. Donald Trump said FANI WILLIS was letting Big Nut all up in that fanny.
Dad? Oh no, but I'm gonna make sure.
Go ahead.
Are you going to come?
Let him get in.
Talk to your parent. You're cutting me off, sir.
You're mad. Go ahead, Mr. Thomas. Go ahead.
No. What I'm saying to you. What I'm saying to you is that you're making millions of dollars off of these kids. The same kids that you're now denigrating, the same parents that you're now denigrating, you make millions of dollars.
We do
I want to call you.
No, your statement is over. It's my turn to talk. You're done for the night.
Well, you cut me off early.
No.
So I'm going to call you and hold you to your commitment.
Principal, take it to school tomorrow. You're done for the night.
It's not negative to take care of the economy around you.
It's money, Mr. Dash, if you hurt children.
How do you hurt children by promoting to be an entrepreneur and a CEO and to do right by?
Looking at a principal.
For example.
Hold it. You're looking at a principal. Why you don't want to let him talk? You mad. Where'd you start? Current affair, right?
Them straight to the jail. And so to undo that mindset, whether it be the officer, whether it be an elected official like me, or whether it be the preacher, teacher, or whoever, we've got to re-educate how we do stop criminalizing people who are having mental health breakdowns. Stop criminalizing homelessness. Stop criminalizing people who are poor. And give people a chance who may be making a mistake. If a person is making a mistake and they're shoplifting because they're hungry, maybe we can send them to diversion. Let's have those conversations. We keep saying 2.5 million, one person. That is not a fair assessment. And I'm going to use this bully pit to make sure that it's not a fair assessment. So I say to you today, what we have been doing has not been working. And what is the definition of lunacy to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. Thank you.
With that election interference or anything, this has to do with we have prosecutors that are not doing their job, that are abusing their office, and the attorney that I met in the parking lot that I mentioned, one of the missions for that organization, it's 3 Black women. One of their missions is prosecutorial reform because of what they see happening with victims of domestic violence and stalking.
Okay. Well, in your county, it seems there are a lot of people that have been sitting in jail far longer than the limits that are allowed under the Georgia law that require someone who's charged with a felony to be formally indicted within 45 days of being locked up. You have people that have been in there several years and have not been formally charged. There was $7.5 million we've discovered that was sent to Fulton County to expedite prosecutions to deal with the backlog. The money seems to have disappeared. And the common sense of it is instead of diminishing the backlog, which would also include those inconvenient cases involving stalking and offenses that are particularly harmful or troublesome to women, instead of reducing those backlogs, something else seems to have happened with the funds. And I'm not buying that you put $7.5 million into investigations that have been conducted by government, well, state government paid employees who get paid the same one way or the other. So what happened to the $7.5 million sent to Fulton County? Why is it that there's been no effort to reduce the backlog? Why is it this resistance to the prosecution of crimes that predominantly impact women? Now, I don't want to badmouth women, but I'm going to. I've made a study of this around the country, and it seems that female Fulton County, why is it that there's been no effort to reduce the backlog? Why is it this resistance to the prosecution of crimes that predominantly impact women? Now, I don't want to badmouth women, but I'm going to. I've made a study of this around the country, and it seems that female chief prosecutors seem singularly reluctant to take on cases that involve women. But there are 28,000 of those kits, and they were essentially accumulated under a woman who was the chief prosecutor. She lost the election 2 years ago, so we've got a new prosecutor, but we still have this backlog. There was a woman put in charge of trying to diminish the backlog, but she didn't reduce. She was a former chief prosecutor. She didn't reduce one single digit's worth of untested kits. So we have the same thing with FANI WILLIS, and in other jurisdictions, Fox up in Chicago, Cook County, the state's attorney up there. It seems there's a singular lack of concern by female prosecutors with cases that impact women very heavily. What is that?
In my own experience seeking justice from Fulton County DA FANI WILLIS, I discovered concerning actions that were brought to my attention from an investigative reporter. It revealed collusions between my stalker, aided by Fulton County Commissioner Marvin Arrington, who also served as my stalker's personal attorney. This conflict of interest is alarming as it compromises the very justice system meant to protect victims. Despite presenting numerous witnesses, DA Willis did not interview one single witness. Over 20 were presented, including my pastor after he joined my church. This pattern of neglect and misconduct persisted, violating my rights under Marcy's law after she offered a plea deal without consenting me. The passage of the Prosecuting Attorney's Qualification Commission is a vital step towards accountability, providing recourse for citizens failed by the system. Fulton County Commissioner Marvin Arrington chose to take a stalking case against a state representative, all while he oversees and appropriates funds to the DA's office. As a criminal defense attorney, Fulton Commissioner Marvin Arrington defends his clients in the same courtroom he appropriates and has unlimited access to the judges. DA Willis is charged to represent victims in Fulton County, the very people Commissioner Arrington's private clients seek to dismiss claims against. 2 attorneys, family friends, law school classmates, opposing each other with one having the authority to chop up charges to benefit the other, and one with the authority to vehemently advocate for funding. A perfect storm for an unknowing victim. During jail calls, Commissioner Arrington and my stalker plotted various actions, including manipulating judges, leveraging political influence, and conversations that were had between Commissioner Arrington with FANI WILLIS before she was even sworn into office about my case. Commissioner Arrington discusses getting favors from the chief jailer of the Fulton County Jail on behalf of my stalker. And the criminal behavior of other elected officials, past and present, is discussed on these jail calls. Despite presenting numerous witnesses, DA Willis contacted no one. DA Willis and ADA Yolanda Mack admitted awareness of judges favoring Commissioner Arrington. She never fought for me as a victim, a Fulton County resident. She was always in the pocket of the commissioner and retaliated against me after I contacted the U.S. Department of Justice Office of Violence Against Women, because DA Willis repeatedly allowed my stalker to be released on bond for non-bondable crimes and failed to notify me of court proceedings repeatedly. She never mentioned to the court her conflict of interest and that when she was discussing my case with her close family friend and my stalker's attorney, Commissioner Marvin Arrington, before she was even sworn into office. The Georgia Democrat Party's decision to grant a convicted felon, previously jailed for 1 year for aggravated stalking, allowing him access to voter data poses a serious risk to every Fulton woman. Campaign software driven by GPS data exposes private information of registered voters without considering the implications of allowing unqualified individuals on the ballot. Today, accountability is paramount, especially with the Fulton County DA failing to assist citizens affected by domestic violence, stalking, or unjust incarceration. The establishment of PAC offers a crucial avenue of justice, addressing challenges faced by non-legal professionals in navigating complaints against misconduct. Recent legislative changes led by Commissioner Bob Ellis ensures that offices funded by Fulton County adhere to ethical standards, safeguarding the rights of citizens. The communities I represent are disproportionately affected by DA Willis's office, particularly those with underperforming schools. Despite laws mandating timely indictments, many languish in jail for months without resolution. Fulton County's jail stay average is 291 days. The national average is 30. 37% of inmates are unindicted in the jail. 3 people unindicted have sat in the jail longer than 2 years. This prolonged detention, often is overcrowded in overcrowded conditions, reflects a failure of justice and basic human rights. It's imperative that the legal system upholds its duty to prosecute promptly or release detainees. Each person in the jail is someone's child, parent, sibling, or loved one. The Georgia General Assembly set clear guidelines for DA Willis, requiring her to indict individuals in custody within 90 days. Those arrested without bond must have their case presented to the grand jury within the same time frame. There are no exceptions to this law. If individuals have been incarcerated for over 90 days, while the DA takes extended vacations with her special prosecutor, it's a direct insult to Fulton County families and those in jail. Consider this: sleeping on the floor for 2 years without facing a judge is not justice. It's a glaring example of inhumane neglect, which the law is designed to rectify, either prosecute or release. The ACLU reported 503 unindicted inmates that were incarcerated at least 90 days. 447 were sleeping on the floor. DA Willis is required to notify a judge if a person remains in jail on felony charges without indictment for more than 45 days. Sheriff Labatt faces a significant challenge with his colleague neglecting her duties, leaving him to manage an overcrowded jail. If DA Willis addressed the backlog as requested, lives could have been saved. Everyone deserves justice. By the end of 2023, 90% of the people in custody were Black. This is not a time to give awards to people for failing to do their job. The Georgia General Assembly enacted a law mandating bail amounts to reflect a defendant's income. Excessive bonds can be rectified swiftly under these laws. Mismanagement in the DA's office shouldn't jeopardize someone's livelihood. Before I go to the next speaker, I want to say one last thing. DA Willis, backed by Commissioner Arrington, has spent millions prosecuting 2 celebrities. This allocation of funds adversely impacts the residents I represent.
The YSL gang racketeering case in which Jeffrey Williams, better known as the megastar rapper Young Thug, is the best known of more than 24 defendants, the DA's office has discovered a discovery document and part of a cooperating witness's statement made it onto social media, and the life of that witness, a cooperating YSL associate, and that witness's children are in jeopardy as a result. The authorities still investigating who leaked the discovery material. A new indictment just last week added new charges against Young Thug and a handful of other defendants in the case. Young Thug's attorney, Brian Steele, and the DA seem to agree the discovery leak is bad.
Whomever is placing items of discovery online is not doing anybody a favor. It is totally inappropriate to try this case in social media. This case will be tried fairly and justly in Fulton County Superior Court.
Concerning the reindictment, Steele said Mr. Williams has committed no crime whatsoever. I look forward to the commencement of the jury trial. The DA's office says it was happy with a July 6th letter issued by the judge in the YSL case, saying, in essence, lawyers may not share contact information for witnesses with their clients in the interest of preventing those witnesses from harm. But now the DA's office says they need an order that goes further.
We're having to ask for further restrictions.
Ms. Willis says she wants the judge to tell defense lawyers not to give discovery documents to their clients, though they can look at them. There are threats out there.
Absolutely, there are threats.
Given the allegations in the indictment, you do not believe there are idle threats.
I do not.
I believe you. Yes, ma'am.
That was sworn under oath.
At the time of the filing, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then in January of 2024, you filed another one that also swore that you only had $5,000 in cash, correct?
At the time of the filing, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in 2022 and 2024, you only had $5,000 in cash.
At that time, yes, ma'am.
Hey, yo, shout out to FFS. Appreciate you, family, for the donation. Y'all show FFS some love in the chat. Drop them some slime brellas. Drop some FFS emojis. I really got to change it to the new one. They ain't nothing. Oh, it is one over here. Appreciate y'all being here. Make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe, tap in, share with a friend, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Appreciate y'all.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
FFS said, have a good night. Have a good night. Have a good motherfucking night. My bad. Hold on. Let me rewind that. I got the volume down. My bad.
With the world is what I said. I didn't say that I had.
Tonight, Fulton County District Attorney FANI WILLIS, she is firing back after state senators suggested she could be jailed if she ignores their calls to testify. Atlanta News First political reporter Doug Reardon went one-on-one with Willis today. And Doug, she had a stern message for the senators investigating her conduct.
I would say so. She still has not set a date to testify in front of this panel of lawmakers, and she told me today she still feels they lack the authority to pull her in to get her testimony in the first place. But she said if she does sit down in front of them, they're going to hear the truth in her own words. For a little over a year now, that group of state senators has been investigating Willis, her DA's budget, and her conduct after it was revealed she was dating a top prosecutor on her indictment against President Donald Trump and his allies. Back in September, the panel subpoenaed Willis to testify. She contested it, and eventually a judge ruled that lawmakers did in fact have the authority to compel her to come in. They said if she doesn't, they'll see contempt charges, which can come with jail time. Willis responded today.
I understand that they are intimidated by a strong woman sitting in this position that's going to hold everyone accountable who violates the law. I am not afraid of a conversation with them, but they better be ready for the truth should they ever have me in that chair.
Can subpoena Fulton County District Attorney FANI WILLIS as part of their investigation into alleged misconduct. Willis has refused to cooperate with the investigation, claiming that lawmakers don't have the power to compel her testimony as they look into her actions surrounding her election interference case against President-elect Donald Trump. But Fulton County Superior Court Judge Shakura Ingram disagreed, and she's given Willis until January 13th to respond to her ruling. Willis has already said she'll take her case to the state Supreme Court.
Against the South Fulton mayor. Court documents claim Mayor Khalid Kamau entered a home without permission back in 2023. It is the latest incident involving Kamau. He has been investigated by the city for accusations of financial misuse.
And DA FANI WILLIS didn't say anything in particular about Young Thug taking a plea deal, but she did say nothing changes with this case for the remaining 2 defendants.
Fulton County District Attorney FANI WILLIS speaking out about the current status of the YSL trial, a RICO indictment with prosecutors attempting to show YSL is a criminal street gang responsible for numerous offenses and not a record label tied to Jeffrey Williams, aka rapper Young Thug. Williams was arrested in 2022 along with 27 other suspected gang members.
It's bad character.
A trial that started in November of 2023 with jury selection that lasted longer than any other in Georgia history. Now, nearly a year later, the courtroom looks very different with only 2 remaining defendants, Shannon Stillwell and Diamante Kendrick. Just recently, several plea deals, including that of Young Thug, surprised many following the trial. But for re-elected DA Willis, the trial continues as it has before.
The approach of that indictment, the approach will stay the same as we enter into the second term.
DA Willis sat down with Atlanta News First and addressed the current state of the trial. Days after the case's central figure, Young Thug, was released on 15 years of probation. Though she didn't give her thoughts on the rapper's sentencing, she did say this.
YSL was a RICO indictment with 28 defendants. At this point, 14 of those defendants have been disposed. 1 was dismissed, and 13 have taken pleas, which means they've taken responsibility for their crimes. But we still have 14 defendants that have to finish their justice, and so it limits what I can say about it.
Photos of Fulton County DA FANI WILLIS are said to have been found on the suspected shooter's camera roll. Law enforcement sources briefed on the investigation told CNN they found pictures of Trump, Biden, Rudy Giuliani, and FANI WILLIS. U.S. officials say the significance of the photos is not yet clear.
Now at 3, Fulton County District Attorney FANI Willis's job could be in jeopardy.
The big question here is, should Willis stay on the election interference case against President Trump and his allies?
So ultimately, it will be up to this court to decide if she stays or if she goes. This all comes after Willis admitted to a romantic relationship with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. Judge Scott McAfee, who is presiding over the election interference case in Fulton County, ruled that Willis could stay on the case if Wade was removed. And then soon after, Wade resigned. Now, it's also worth noting that the appeals court has denied a similar appeal from Harrison Floyd, the former head of Black Voices for Trump. Floyd is one of the remaining 14 co-defendants and the only person indicted who actually spent time in jail. Now, if the appeals court does rule against Mr. Trump and upholds the decision made by the lower court judge, Scott McAfee, we can likely expect another appeal by the Trump team because they've vowed to keep on fighting this case, even if it means appealing it up to higher courts.
Asia Wilson is live in downtown Atlanta at the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. And Asia, we're also learning more about a letter that Willis sent to this committee.
You're exactly right. Good morning to you, Brooks. District Attorney FANI WILLIS is urging her former flame not to testify in the nation's capital today, specifically about anything that could compromise the Georgia indictment against former President Donald Trump. Now, in that letter, Willis says her office instructed Wade not to talk about confidential or privileged information that may jeopardize her investigation against the former president. Willis states Wade has knowledge of highly sensitive and confidential information regarding this ongoing criminal matter. Willis hired Wade as a special prosecutor in the Georgia interference case after the 2020 election. Wade stepped down from the case after a Fulton County Superior Court judge ruled he would need to resign in order for Willis to stay on the case. This after both admitted to a personal relationship. And after all of this came to light, Wade was vocal about it, saying their relationship was not a mistake.
What I believe is this whole conversation is a distraction. That's all. It's a tool to stop the train, to slow down the inevitable, which is the trial of the defendants named in the election interference case.
A night all about honoring the men and women behind the badges in the city of South Fulton, honored by the woman who goes in front of the bench with their cases.
The last couple of years have been really hard for me, but what has kept me safe is this police department. And so that's why it's an honor to stand among my heroes.
District Attorney FANI WILLIS has been center stage for her election interference case involving former President Donald Trump, as well as her strong stand against gangs. That spotlight leading to threats, the most recent one on Christmas Eve.
I've got men going to your house. Your house has been docked. They say they've killed a woman inside. I cannot tell you the level of terror I had thinking that my 26-year-old child was dead.
Police determined it was a hoax.
This police department will keep me safe. And so many of y'all did. So many of y'all walked around my house. So many of y'all showed up. That dog showed up daily to just make sure that me and my family were okay.
The district attorney not only working with the department to prosecute criminals, but thanking them as a citizen.
And I can be Madam DA, but at the end of the day, I'm just a single mom trying to raise my children, and it's because of you I'm safe.
Increase in domestic violence cases.
The effort comes at a crucial time. Sobering numbers from the Georgia Commission on Family Violence. Take a look. As of this May, the number of known domestic violence-related deaths in Georgia is just over 1,700. That is a 42% increase from 2012 to 2022. Atlanta News First, Zach Summers breaks down how the DA's office is seeking to learn from other cities that have already succeeded in reducing domestic violence-related deaths.
It's not a luxury.
Inside the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, DA FANI WILLIS and her deputy DAs over the Brenda Baham Domestic Violence Unit are meeting to talk about a resource they say is desperately needed in Georgia's largest county.
What this center will do is make sure that we keep people safe.
They want a family justice center, a one-stop shop collaborative model where several community partners are in one place to help families affected by domestic violence.
Whether it's housing, whether it's referrals to navigate through family court, whether it's needs for their children, whether it's needs for safety.
Data from the DA's office shows an explosion in domestic violence cases since Willis took office in 2021, the number of indicted cases increasing 115% as of April 2023. Research shows victims often have to go to dozens of places to get crucial services, which Deputy DA Simone Hilton says can create more trauma.
To ultimately be re-traumatizing a victim who has to continue to tell their stories over and over again versus having this one-stop shop.
Hilton says can create more trauma.
To ultimately be re-traumatizing a victim who has to continue to tell their stories over and over again versus having this one-stop shop.
We're still in the process, as you can see, of getting this building ready.
Tanisha McAuley is the executive director of the Cobb County Family Advocacy Center. The county was awarded a grant in 2020 to start planning for the space. When it opens this fall, it'll be one of just 3 family justice centers in the state of Georgia.
This is a solution. This is one way that we can be a part of solving some of those problems.
McAuley says the most challenging part of the process was securing the necessary partnerships.
That's the core of your Family Justice Center, bringing all of these partners together to make this a reality.
Back in Fulton County, Willis and her team have started to lay the groundwork, planning
of your family.
Hold on, I just caught that. Did she do her makeup like that on purpose? Like she trying to look like she got black eyes or what? I'm confused. What's going on? It's that Johnson & Johnson. You know what it is.
Justice Center, bringing all of these partners together to make this a reality.
Back in Fulton County, Willis and her team have started to lay the groundwork, planning a trip to New York to see an established center in action, speaking with potential partners, and researching possible funding sources.
We want to know what they tried and what failed and how it failed. You can often learn great lessons from other people's mistakes.
Willis says she wants to ensure that when Fulton County gets its Family Justice Center, it will provide the most services for victims.
So this is something that is needed so that we can restore people and make them whole. There's too much judgment around this issue. And so I think it's unfair. People don't want to say that. They also have been, in my opinion, a penny smart and a dollar dumb. It would have been better
many years ago to invest in an adequate facility and to invest in these law enforcement partners in a way that they needed. What do I mean by that? To give the public defender the lawyers that they needed to adequately do their job, to fund the district attorney's office in a way that they could appropriately do the backlog of cases. Do I think my predecessor was derelict in some duties? They could have done a better job maybe with the resources, yes, but I also think he did not have enough resources. That is just the truth. I think that is the reason that you had cases going back to 2014. I also think he spent a lot of time kind of chasing this jail number, and then you had 85% of the people getting bonds and not being indicted. And when people don't get held accountable, guess what they do? They commit another crime. So often. So many of the people that you see, I would randomly pick, 100 people out of the jail. Look and see how many of them have prior arrests and how many prior arrests. When you look at those records and see if the things that they have prior arrests, do they concern you? As a citizen, when you look at their records and you see burglaries and aggravated assaults, do you want those kind of people held responsible? I have to tell you, I'm out in the community a lot. I'm everywhere from South Fulton to North Fulton. I have a county that is extremely diverse. It's one reason I love this county. We're African American.
We're not going to deal with it. Although when I met with Commissioner Morris and Commissioner Hall and Commissioner Hausman, they all said, but you told us about this in January. Exactly. And since January, we've been doing the work. See, if my people treat any one of you like this, this is what they can each tell you. They're going to be fired that day. I'll deal with the consequences later. So I'm asking you to get your staff together so me and my brother can stop being treated like this.
I'm so sorry because I didn't see anything about an evidence facility on this agenda, nor any. I told you I didn't see anything. I didn't know anything about it, and so I just want to make sure that I get all my answers. I did hear Madam CFO say that the salary savings that you have would be used, that you will be able to use them, and I just want to make sure this amount on here is correct. Is $641,000 in salary savings, Madam CFO?
We calculated $617 for the salary savings.
I think it's $617 because I was told I can't use anything.
All right, so 617 it is. Going.
Is that what you got pawn shop written on my forehead?
DJ, fuck with me. Fuck with me,
Said
DJ.
I'll take the 617.
Fuck with me, DJ.
Fuck with me, DJ. Fuck it, I'll take the 10.
Well, first of all, you are completely inaccurate. So let's start there. Let's get some facts to you so that we can make sure that at least we're reading from the same hymnal. So to that extent, the emergency money that was put in place, you might want to ask Mr. Davis, how can he outfit, and any company outfit anybody that is full of inmates sleeping on the floor? I said, quite honestly, we cannot outfit or fix a facility if we got inmates sleeping on the floor. Don't be disingenuous about any of the outsourcing numbers when it comes to Cobb and or the city of Atlanta, because you knew from day one that we had to staff it. And so we cannot keep staffing other facilities and not staffing our own facility. Don't be disingenuous like you and I did not have breakfast, and I told you.
Hold on, now you eating breakfast with the niggas that you over here asking for money for? That makes me suspicious. Charlie Haggard, what up, TC? I see you. Appreciate you, family.
Like simply, we created a motorcycles unit so when there's emergency, I got additional staff made up of mostly retired people. I created a traffic unit made up of individuals now who have to move gang members back and forth to court.
What up, Tammy Lewis? Appreciate you joining.
Don't be disingenuous and tell me what my core value, my core operational need is when I have 3 constitutional responsibilities. Count them, 3. And you can look that up while you're looking up everything else.
Hold on. Look, listen to his 3 constitutional responsibilities. Tell me what part of the Constitution say any of the 3 that he about to name. This is 3 constitutional responsibilities.
First one being the chief law enforcement executive in the county. The second, run the jail. And third, protect the courts. Count them, 3. And you can look that. Don't be disingenuous and tell me what my core value, my core operational need is when I have 3 constitutional responsibilities. Count them, 3. And you can look that up while you're looking up everything else. The first one being the chief law enforcement executive in the county. The second, run the jail. And third, protect the courts. Because I will not lose the court. Don't be disingenuous when you look at 19 inmates.
What part of the Constitution is that?
Not even inmates, indictments that brought worldwide attention to Fulton County, and we didn't miss a beat.
How does it feel to be on the right side of history? Listen up, everybody. I am so excited by the outcome of tonight's election. We have done a thing. When you get to 89%, the people said yes. The people said yes to justice. The people said yes to safety. The people said yes to integrity. The people said yes to FANI WILLIS, everybody. FANI WILLIS is and will continue to be the DA for Fulton County, and that's all right by me. Atlanta's seal and our logo has a phoenix. And you think about that phoenix represents that a fire occurred and this bird rose from the flames. FANI WILLIS is going through some things. FANI WILLIS has put her life on the line. She's put her courage on the line. She's put this whole county on her back. FANI WILLIS has gone through the fire and come out like a phoenix that represents the city of Atlanta. Every single day she is fighting for Fulton. She's fighting for the city of Atlanta. And the mayor of Atlanta needs a partner, y'all. A partner like FANI WILLIS. Think about it. We had a 21% reduction in homicides, 50% reduction in rape. Violent crime is down in Atlanta and Fulton County because of this partnership. We have a great relationship with our DA. We have a great relationship with our Solicitor General over here, Keith Gamage. Congratulations to Keith Gamage, everybody, on his win tonight. We are in a group project, and FANI WILLIS is leading it as a DA that has courage, that has integrity, that has the unmitigated gall to keep going in the face of opposition. Opposition on all sides. Women, especially women DAs, are under attack across this country. And FANI said, I don't care, I'm gonna do what I was called to do, and that's to serve this county. And the people said yes. Now Charlie Bailey is Lady Justice is blind. He said 89% seem high. Now I'm a Georgia Tech chemical engineer, and 89% is high. FANI whooped somebody tonight, and it's important for us to recognize that the people of Fulton County said we got a leader, and that leader is DA FANI WILLIS, and we want her to keep on. What you talking about, Willis?
Turning over things to the defense. I don't have it. So to the extent that they want something like that, I'll give it to them. I don't mind.
All right.
And so FANI WILLIS, they picked her, chose her, and then this is who she chose as her lead. She chose Love to lead her case. That show you what type of person she is, to choose this type of person to be in charge of anything.
Like I said, if it comes up later, unfortunately, I'll be put in a position where I'll deal with it. But, you know, disclosure is probably the better course in everyone's circumstance. And I'd remind the defense as well, if you've got things that because you've opted in reciprocal discovery, you need to turn those over timely and appropriately.
I think that what you just heard, though, is forgetting that the witness said to the district attorney and investigator Randolph, I do not recall anything from 2013 because of trauma. That is totally...
Well, if it's memorialized...
She said that to me, to be clear.
That is Brady. For a witness to say, I don't recall, for whatever reason, that is impeaching.
Your Honor,
that is a statement that goes against and can be, that's why prior inconsistent statements, and it's an inconsistent statement. That was not turned over. The point I'm trying to make to you is what I said. And I don't accept the representation that was just made, because these are examples of Brady. So I'd like all Brady to be enforced. That's all I'm at. And it's not that I want something or I requested, or these are the rules. Okay.
These are the rules. Shout out to FFS. Appreciate you, family. Shout out to Vernicia Williams. Hopefully you still here. Show some love to FFS and drop some slime brothers in the chat. Welcome to the club. Shout out to everybody for being here. Appreciate y'all. Now let's see what this is going to say.
And Your Honor, given that Mr. Adams is the examining attorney, I would ask that Mr. Adams be the one that's required to make these objections. But Your Honor, I will point out to the court that prior to Ms. Bennett ever taking the stand, I made everyone aware that she was claiming that she blocked out a whole period of time. On direct, I asked her, did you say you blocked out? I would ask that Mr. Adams be the one that's required to make these objections. But Your Honor, I will point out to the court that prior to Ms. Bennett ever taking the stand, I made everyone aware that she was claiming that she blocked out a whole period of time. On direct, I asked her, did you say you blocked out? She has testified that she said things did not happen. She never told us that. She never told us that. So to the extent that, one, there were statements that were made that we have made everyone aware of, there's no withholding, there's no Brady violation, there's no nothing like that. And an assertion, just bare blanket assertion, doesn't make it true. Secondly, if there were a statement given to me in the presence of an investigator, not only have we provided all of our witnesses, made ourselves available to make the witnesses available to them. Mr. Steele talked to Ms. Bennett. I still don't know whether or not he has any recordings. I still don't know what he has with respect to what she told him. So I think that's a little disingenuous to assert, but that's on him and he can do what he wants. But Your Honor,
this man is one of her normal deputies. So
disingenuous to assert, but that's on him and he can do what he wants. But Your Honor,
this man is one of her normal deputies. So this is his time to shine, baby, okay? He is normally assigned to Judge Whitaker. He knows her. Whatever he says is going to be
evidence is not the evidence of evidence.
Law. And I don't need any more, I don't need any more judges feeling no type of way about me. I don't need that at this point. So I get up, I walk out, I sign my name on the paper, come sit back in. I still have my cell phone. I'm checking emails. I'm, putting my phone up, checking emails, whatever, texting, whatever. Nobody says anything to me about my phone. So we go on this 10-minute recess at I think about 3:30. Come back in. They do a little shift. I'm back on my phone. I'm not on social media. I'm not recording. I'm not doing anything. Even though I have a Rule 22 that's unsigned and submitted and try to do everything the right way, but still, nothing. And this man yells my name, Bumpus, to the point, I ain't even, Thug looks at me. Everybody in the courtroom looks. He says my name so loud, everybody looks at me. And I'm looking like, what the heck? You can't have your cell phone. Get up and come out. So this is the second time he has come and approached me. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? What's really going on? So I'm like, we're gonna have to call a supervisor. Somebody gonna tell me. So we called the supervisor and I told her, she said, girl, go sit down, take your phone, go have a seat. But even out of respect, I take my phone back in there, but I just put it in my purse because I'm not on no weird stuff. I don't want to draw attention to me. Anyway, I find out later that he tells the supervisor, I'm showing people in the courtroom stuff on my phone. I haven't I haven't talked to nobody. I haven't looked at nobody. Lied. Okay, needless to say, this is the person who exposed the ex parte hearing. And this is a fact. We was in the ex parte hearing, y'all. And I don't really know him. I don't know a lot of the deputies, but I was in there and he's like, speak to me. He's like, hey, Kay, look, everybody call me Bumpus. Hey, Bumpus. I'm like, hey, like I've seen him before, but I don't really know him. So when the ex parte meeting, like I'm telling you, when we came out of the ex parte meeting, I can't say that I would not have exposed the meeting. I can't say that. And I don't believe that he exposed anything of legal relevance. I think that I did that, and I accept that. But Judge Glanville and all of them who think I ran down or text are wrong. It was your deputy, sweetheart. It's the person in your chamber. So let's get it clear.
It was your deputy, sweetheart. The person in your chambers. Let's get it clear. What up, Bo? Appreciate you joining, family.
Deputy Brown.
Shout out to Chad My Black is Golden and FFS over here killing it in the chat. Appreciate you, family.
Deputy Brown, the person who put me out the courtroom, Deputy Brown, I'm gonna get a picture of him too. I'm gonna show y'all who he is. So, and I got so much more to say. So let's go back to ex parte hearing. We're gonna start right there. So we in the room. He's like the man. He is the deputy who told everybody to turn their body cam off. That's what I'm saying. I'm tired of people playing with me. So you played with me today. So now I got to tell the whole world that you are unprofessional. You had no bit. You're not a lawyer. You had no duty to tell nobody nothing, Deputy Brown. Just like you had no business messing with me today. So anyway, let's go. So I'm gonna put his picture up there when we go through stuff from the courtroom. I'm gonna say that's him, y'all. That's him, y'all. Okay, so we in the I'm gonna put his picture up there when we go through stuff from the courtroom. I'm gonna say that's him, y'all. That's him, y'all. Okay, so we in the I'm tired of people playing with me. He played with me today, so now he has to get exposed. I've been protecting him for a month and a half. I've been knowing who it was. I haven't said nothing, but at the end of the day, you embarrassed me today. You embarrassed me almost. Really, you embarrassed yourself because. And that's what I told him when I walked out the court. I said, thank you so much for the content, sir, because I'm going to let you know at the end of the day, I said, I can't wait to get on live about you tonight. So I hope Patrick LaBott is watching. I hope that he knows his deputy is the one who went down and told, which I'm glad he did it. Whatever. Kudos to him. But at the end of the day, sir. So then, we in the meeting, he talked to me, he cool, he was real nice to me. So when everything went left, after you got 5 minutes, Brian going to jail, I'm running out court, that man wouldn't look at me. On the day on the next day after the ex-parte, that man would not look at me. His whole energy, his whole vibe completely changed. He would not even look at me. People from the DA's office told me they were in a group chat and they had him as the suspect who leaked the ex parte meeting. Okay, that was number one. I had other deputies tell me who believed it was him, and I had people who knew for a fact it was him tell me that it was him. So I'm going to court tomorrow, and I hope Deputy Brown is there. I'm no shame in my game because, baby, people finna stop bullying me. I'm so tired of people bullying me. I'm gonna make sure my Rule 22 gets signed. But what I'm trying to say is, the point of me even saying this is that if deputies and judges treat lawyers like this, imagine what they're doing to regular people who have no voice. So it's not about me being messy. It's about, what is your reason for messing with me? What is your reason for bullying with me? I'm sitting in this courtroom, I have no recording going, and I don't have no reason for you to be messing with me, and you just come and pull me out. That's embarrassing to me as an attorney. First of all, the spotlight already on me. Judges already looking at me. Other attorneys already looking at me. Whether it's good or bad, people are already looking at me. And now you are further. And then you allow this man, this judge, to mess with me for weeks when you know what you did. They Deputy Brown, like, stop playing with me. And now, I hope that everybody sees this, and that I hope Judge Glanville sees this, and I hope Judge Glanville issues me an apology, because you sat there and told the world she, when it was he. Sir.
Cannot access reports, but we left them with APD.
Okay.
The state.
These nuts. Got him.
Has stated that they don't have these reports.
All right.
We're taking his moments and using that as a learning point to help you guys become better lawyers. And so I hope that Jules and Tim were able to kind of give you some techniques. And we're going to do more of this. But for right now, let's get up here and let's get the star of the show on the stage. Let's go.
see you now. Let's get on the streets, okay? All right. Now, where's that cute baby? Baby. How old is the baby? 7 months. She's 7 months. Have you seen the child? No. Stand right there. Do not move. Come up here. Thank you.
Mondo. Mondo.
Okay, you get one hug. Now, and while you're hugging that really, really cute child, remember that's a reason to not be back in front of me. Because if you care about it, don't do stuff that gets you in front of folks like me. All right? Yes, she is. Okay, this is back. Time's up.
Before I called Mr. Sprinkle, when we intended to call Mr. Zachary, Mr. Sprinkle's testimony, and in order to avoid him being called twice, we were putting in the interview of Mr. Zachary.
The truth is, you are a liar.
His continued pronouncements regarding his health concerns and other considerations. We were going to call Detective Gaither to simply get in the interview regarding Mr. Zachary. Mr. Sprinkle's investigation, if you will deal with some of the information that comes from Mr. Zachary's interview. And rather than asking the court to call Mr. Sprinkle twice,
well, we're calling lots of witnesses twice, or you are calling lots of witnesses twice, so.
Your Honor, I'd ask the court's permission, since we do have Detective Gaither here, to allow us to put in Mr. Zachary's interview and to allow us to proceed after Detective Gaither with.
And what is Detective Gaither just going to be introducing the interviews?
She's going to be introducing the interviews. Primarily, that is the reason that we have her. She also confirmed, though Mr. Zachary was able to confirm some information about his phone number, another phone number. I told her that I don't expect to keep her very long. I don't expect her to be more than today, frankly.
Well, what up, family? Thanks again for being here. I hope you all are feeling the energy, absorbing those truths we just laid down, and definitely got more coming. But before we dive back in, I gotta be real with you for a second. This is a big moment for Flesh of the Gods. Your support right now is more crucial than ever. Seriously, every bit you give, it goes straight to us leveling up. We're talking about new programs, better tech, everything we need to make this show even more impactful. Why now? Because we're gearing up for something massive. That's right, family, the first ever AAI, Algorithmic Achievement Impact Awards. But to light this show on fire and make it a truly mind-blowing experience like it's supposed to be, we need your help to get the resources in place. This isn't just a show, it's a statement, and we want to make it legendary. So how about I give you a taste of what your support makes possible? Check this out. We're building out some new ways for you to connect. Now, we all know this is the most interactive live around in these YouTube streets. This vision, this future, it needs your help to manifest. So please, if you're feeling the call, throw your support behind us. Every dollar makes a difference. It's an investment in the truth, in the growth, and into our overall shared journey, family. Also, this includes new chat prompts and a couple new things that I got under my sleeve. But anyway, I'm asking you to help us make this AAI award show the most unforgettable and help us to keep pushing boundaries of what's possible here on Flesh of the Gods. We're in this together. Thanks in advance, family. The Cash App and PayPal donation links are right here. And if you could help, it will be greatly appreciated. You could also help just by hitting that like button or that subscribe button. Thank you all in advance. Much love, family. Now let's get back to the show.
These nuts. Got him. Got him.
Just a hot mess.
And yeah, that's it. And the other
Victor that has to watch it, and I'm a fan of hers. One of the things she does, though, is at one point she has the news media in her home, and during that interview, she shows you how to enter the house, where things are within her closet. She then becomes a victim. That's not wise to do. You should be able to show you've worked hard, you have some success.
But we went and put ourselves on the stand when we didn't need to go on the stand. And then my dad's called to the stand and underscores what I said. You need security details anyway. And then you go voluntarily testify that you keep cash in your house.
People are interested in you, you should be able to show that. But it's not a wise thing to do, because you're exactly right. Now what they're doing is they're looking on social media and they are seeing, are there things here that we would like to get? One of the things the investigators realized is they're immediately going.
Shout out to Queen Slime. Y'all go sub up. One of the best content creators out there, that's a fact. Go sub up to Cat Not Williams.
Going to closets. They're immediately going to bedrooms. They know where these high-end items are, and they are seeking to get them. And so
you shouldn't be the district attorney if you're not willing to take flack. The reality is the world has been caught up with one defendant, but we indicted 28 defendants. 14 of those defendants are now disposed of cases. We have 14 more defendants to go, and so we are going to continue to pursue justice in that case.
Ms. Willis says though Young Thug exited the Fulton County Jail soon after his plea in a car driven by one of his attorneys, he had already done a substantial amount of time in jail while awaiting or going through his trial.
He's been in jail almost 3 years, so that is not a walk in the park.
She says there is room for accountability in the complicated sentence involving 5 years commuted to time served, followed by 15 years probation, to be followed by a, quote, backloaded 20-year prison term, which will also be commuted to time served if he successfully completes the probation, which is loaded with lots of special conditions.
Hope springs eternal that he will do well, because if not, he's going to land himself in prison for another 20 years.
Should Willis stay on the election interference case against President Trump and his allies? Atlanta's first anchor and attorney, Joy Lim-Nakrin, joins us with more on this decision. Joy.
Well, Tracy and Allen, the Georgia Court of Appeals has now agreed to hear an appeal from former President Donald Trump over this decision by a Fulton County Superior Court judge to allow Ms. Willis to stay on the case. So ultimately, it will be up to this court to decide if she stays or if she goes. And this all comes after Willis admitted to a romantic relationship with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. Judge Scott McAfee, who is presiding over the election interference case in Fulton County, ruled that Willis could stay on the case if Wade was removed. And then soon after, Wade resigned. Now, it's also worth noting that the appeals court has denied a similar appeal from Harrison Floyd, the former head of Black Voices for Trump. Floyd is one of the remaining 14 co-defendants and the only person indicted who actually spent time in jail. Now, if the appeals court does rule against Mr. Trump and upholds the decision made by the lower court judge, Scott McAfee, we can likely expect another appeal by the Trump team, because they've vowed to keep on fighting this case, even if it means appealing it up to higher courts.
Over at noon, the Georgia Senate has extended the special committee investigating Fulton County District Attorney FANI WILLIS. The Senate approved the committee's continuation on Monday. You may remember in late December, a Fulton County Superior Court ruled that the Senate committee can subpoena DA Willis as part of an inquiry into whether she has engaged in misconduct during her prosecution of President-elect Donald Trump. So the judge gave Willis the chance to contest whether lawmakers' demands are overly broad, and DA Willis had until Monday to submit her arguments.
I wonder if he's dead. Hate fucking rabbits. You wonder if he got any money? Check his pockets.
This is not.
Looks like he's been eating a lot of chicken.
Last 4 or 5 years, this is not how you set a budget. You don't set a millage rate in it. You find out how much you got to use first. You find out how much the DA's office needs, how much the sheriff's office needs, how much these other departments need, and then set the budget.
Wait a minute. Let's stop right there. Stop right there. This is the same sheriff he's referring to that, check out this, went to Fulton County's domestic violence court to handwrite a complaint against a citizen, supposedly for domestic violence that consisted of her just exposing him for embezzlement and misappropriation of funds. But it's okay for the DA's office, the domestic violence court to get involved with persecuting a citizen who hasn't stalked anybody, hasn't approached this individual, just on the record accused him of misappropriating funds. But that's a proper use of a domestic violence court. Now, doesn't that sound a little preposterous?
Yes.
Very much so.
You hit the nail on the head.
And he's protected him. And see, here's the other thing, too. I've talked to some people, and we've been looking at what we've been seeing and said, you know what? We see money laundering, but it's coming from FANI WILLIS and company, and these people are misappropriating funds, and what's going on is the money is being washed through the DA's office to laundry. We have RICO activity by the district attorney's office.
I definitely...
And
he said we got RICO activity by the district attorney's office. Now, how long have I been saying that? Ever since I first started watching this case. That's one of the main reasons I started covering the trial, is because I saw all this RICO going on while they talking about RICO. What?
It's awful. And the other thing, too, somebody, I think it's L.A. Pink, sent us a thing where it is a recording of Fannie campaigning for the office saying the sexual innuendo and sexual activities of the DA have to stop. And that was when she was getting elected.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was an old one, and she's saying that, but look what we discover has been up.
It is saddening to me if young women felt like they came to work and they were, one, even judged for being a woman, but two, if certainly they felt uncomfortable within the workplace. That will not be something that is allowed on my watch. Supervisors under my leadership that are not encouraging and building up my staff will not be supervisors long in my administration. And I certainly will not be choosing people to date that work under me. Let me just say that. We are at a place in society where things happen in people's relationships, husband and wife. Sometimes there are outside relationships. I don't think that that's what the community is concerned about, although there might be a moral breaking in that. I think that what citizens are really, really concerned about is if you chose to have inappropriate contact with employees. I mean, there's nothing that I can say on it other than it is distracting. It is certainly inappropriate for the #1 law enforcement officer in this state. And it really, really saddens me. And it will be very unfortunate if the taxpayers of this community have to pay for any of those lawsuits.
Exactly. That's the way I feel about it also.
Exactly what's going on. Hypocrisy. We've prosecuted a president and 17, 18 other people for supposedly RICO. We've prosecuted some school teachers for RICO, some rap artists for the language they used in some rap numbers for RICO, and here we've got RICO activity in the district attorney's office from the looks of things. And we've got the sheriff trying to oppress citizens, women, by trying to drag them through domestic violence court because they're calling them on the carpet politically. What's going on in your county?
Why the doesn't he get a ticket?
Ma'am, I can help you talk to somebody.
He didn't use his turn signal!
Ma'am, can I please call you an ambulance?
So I have to follow every law, but that can leave the scene without a turn signal? Give him a ticket!
Do you need an ambulance?
He doesn't have a turn signal! Give him a ticket!
Do you need to go to the...
I get a ticket! He can do whatever he wants!
Okay. Okay. Can I help you with anything else?
Give him a ticket! Why the doesn't he get a ticket?
Ma'am, I can help you talk to somebody.
He didn't use his turn signal!
From a criminal conspiracy
to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in this state. The indictment includes 41 felony counts and is 97 pages long. Please remember that everyone charged in this bill of indictment is presumed innocent. Specifically, the indictment brings felony charges against Donald John Trump, Rudolph William Louis Giuliani, John Charles Eastman, Mark Randall Meadows, John Cheeseborough, Jeffrey Clark, Jenna Lynn Ellis.
Denied.
Every individual charged in the indictment is charged with one count of violating Georgia's Racketeer, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act through participation in a criminal enterprise in Fulton County, Georgia, and elsewhere to accomplish the illegal goal of allowing Donald J. Trump to seize the presidential term of office beginning on January 20th, 21.
Denied.
Specifically, the participants in association took various actions in Georgia and elsewhere to block the counting of the votes of the presidential electors who were certified as the winners of Georgia's 2020 general election. As you examine the indictment, you will see acts that are identified as overt acts and those that are identified as predicate acts, sometimes called acts of racketeering activity. Overt acts are not necessarily crimes under Georgia law in isolation, but are alleged to be acts taken in furtherance of the conspiracy. Many occurred in Georgia, and some occurred in other jurisdictions and are included because the grand jury believes they were part of the illegal effort to overturn the results of Georgia's 2020 presidential election. The acts identified as predicate acts or acts of racketeering activity are crimes that are alleged to have been committed in furtherance of the criminal enterprise. Acts of racketeering activity are also charged as separate counts in the indictment against those who are alleged to have committed them. All elections in our nation are administered by these states, which are given the responsibility of ensuring a fair process and an accurate counting of the votes. That includes elections for presidential electors, Congress, state officials, and local offices. The state's role in this process is essential to the functioning of our democracy. Georgia, like every state, has laws that allow those who believe that results of an election are wrong, whether because of intentional wrongdoing or unintentional error, to challenge those results in our state courts. We also want to thank the Atlanta Police Department and other law enforcement partners who have worked with the sheriff to keep us safe. I will now take a very limited number of questions prior to going to sleep.
Question. Can you clarify in Georgia the mandatory minimum when it comes to RICO charges, whether it's servable by probation or how that might play out?
The RICO charges has time that you have to serve, so it is not a probated sentence.
What's the timetable for the trial?
What is the timetable for the trial? As you know, in this jurisdiction, trials are set by the judges, and so it will be the judge that sets the date of the trial. This office will be submitting a proposed scheduling order within this week. However, that will totally be at the discretion of the judge.
The truth is you are a liar.
I don't have any desire to be first or last. I want to try him and be respectful for ourselves and states. We do want to move this case along, and so we will be asking for a proposed order that occurs a trial date within the next 6 months.
But you just lied. Stop it. Stop it. Petition's document according to the Fulton County Clerk's Office that was circulated online with charges against former President Donald Trump. That petition's document matched exactly the charges that we now see in this indictment. Can you tell us more about that document leak? Because now you have the former president's lawyers who are saying this is emblematic of a serious problem. with your office?
No, I can't tell you anything about what you refer to. What I can tell you is that we had a grand jury here in Fulton County. They deliberated till almost 8 o'clock, if not right after 8 o'clock. An indictment was returned. It was true billed, and you now have an indictment. I am not an expert on clerks' duties or even administrative duties. I wouldn't know how to work that system, and so I'm not going to speculate. Next question.
Have you had any contact with the special counsel about overlap?
Who's you talking about, Willis?
Do I intend to try the 19 defendants in this indictment together? Yes.
And have you had any contact with the special counsel about the overlap between this indictment and the federal indictment?
I'm not going to discuss our investigation at this time. I'm going to take
the arguments made by former President Trump that this is important for you.
I make decisions in this office based on the facts and the law. The law is completely nonpartisan. That's how decisions are made in every case. To date, this office has indicted, since I've been sitting as a district attorney, over 12,000 cases. This is the 11th RICO indictment. We followed the same process. We look at the facts, we look at the law, and we bring charges.
This point blank period, like I'm going to say this, is that Woody,
the absence of evidence is not the evidence.
What?
The agreement was always that I was only representing him while he was in custody. Once they agreed to let him out of custody, so I mean the whole fire was because he was trying to help me get off the case. I mean, even he knew that the judge was wrong.
See, that was my first theory, because a lot of times when we work with clients, you know, we can talk to them on the side.
Me and him are close. Like, I represented him a lot. Like, I know him.
Okay.
So there's no bad blood at all.
Oh, okay, okay.
It was just like everybody. No, even he couldn't believe what was happening.
Oh, okay. He the way his demeanor is, and he, dramatic with it. She lied. Yeah, yes, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Arrington said, "I hope she gets the help that she obviously and desperately needs." The Center Square, a Fulton County commissioner targeted by a state lawmaker's lawsuit, said the action is a baseless waste of time and resources, and called the filing frivolous. Representative Meisha Mainer, R. Atlanta, is suing top Fulton County officials. Mainer filed her lawsuit in Fulton County Superior Court, naming the county's ethics board, county commissioner.
What up, Lucy? I see you. Appreciate you joining. Shout out to FFS. Dropping some slime brothers in the chat. Still making it rain.
Marvin Arrington and District Attorney FANI WILLIS. Mainer named Arrington and Willis both individually and in their professional capacities. Mainer, in part, brought the claims under the state's Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations statute, one of the statutes Willis used in her indictment against Trump. The state lawmaker, who made headlines when she switched to the Republican Party last year, is seeking various damages, including punitive damages and attorney's fees. According to the lawsuit published by Fox 5 Atlanta, Mainer alleges a campaign worker she hired in January 2019 and fired the following month began to stalk her after his termination. A Fulton County grand jury indicted the campaign worker on charges of aggravated stalking and violating a temporary protective order Mainer secured in August 2019, and a second aggravated assault charge was later added. Willis dismissed one of the aggravated stalking cases, and the district attorney offered a plea deal for a 3-year sentence that included 1 year in prison and the rest on probation with credit for the time already served. However, Mainer did not approve of the deal and said Willis did not notify her of the offer, violating the Georgia Crime Victims Bill of Rights. The campaign worker, described in the lawsuit as a friend of Arrington, hired the county commissioner as his attorney in October 2020. In the lawsuit, Mainer said the commissioner used his influence to circumvent the office policies of the district attorney's office. Fulton County residents hire Commissioner Arrington as a defense attorney because of the power he is able to yield to the district attorney's office, the lawsuit alleges. As a Fulton County commissioner, defendant Commissioner Arrington is responsible for managing, setting, and releasing the budget for the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. Additionally, Mainer said Willis repeatedly allowed her stalker to be released on bond for non-bondable crimes and failed to notify her of court proceedings. She also alleged that Arrington and Willis discussed the case before Willis was sworn into office. "She never fought for me as a victim," a Fulton County resident, Mainer said during a Tuesday press conference. "She was always in the pocket of the commissioner and retaliated against me after I contacted the U.S. Department of Justice Office on violence against women." Mainer filed an ethics complaint against Arrington in October 2020, a case the county's ethics board closed in March 2021. In the lawsuit, Mainer contends the board failed to follow proper procedure while adjudicating ethics complaint. Arrington did not immediately have a response, and a spokesman for the Fulton County District Attorney's Office did not respond to requests for comment. Mainer also referenced the Prosecuting Attorneys Qualification Commission, which Republican Governor Brian Kemp signed earlier this year. The passage of the Prosecuting Attorneys Qualification Commission is a vital step towards accountability, providing recourse for citizens failed by the system, Mainer said.
The only thing that this bill does is right now we have constitutional officers that are defined on pages 65 to 66. They have to report how they spend the appropriated funds. There are funds that they have that are discretionary that they do not have to report at the moment, and so this bill simply says they must report their discretionary funds to the county. What they do with the discretionary funds, this bill has nothing to do with that. They will still be able to use the discretionary funds as they choose to. I'll yield the will if there are no questions.
You have a question to your left. Representative Oliver is recognized for a question.
Does the lady yield?
Well, let me first say that we fixed the question that you had. I will yield.
You're thinking ahead of how I'm thinking. The question in committee is if my clerk of DeKalb County Superior Court gets personal income from
Lady
passport
Justice is blind.
fees
Everybody
that in no
here.
way belongs to DeKalb County under the law, doesn't your bill require somebody to audit her personal income from passport fees? How did you fix that?
Okay, your question, and if I may, your question in committee was, how do you define discretionary funds? So it is now defined in this bill. Any further questions?
Does the lady further yield?
I don't.
Yes or no?
Sure, yes.
Thank you. I guess my problem is with your definition of discretionary funds. It's personal discretionary funds. It's not public discretionary funds. That's my problem. So my issue about us auditing the tax commissioner of Fulton County's personal money or the DeKalb clerk's personal money is still a problem for me. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So I'll answer that question. Discretionary funds are the county, the people's money. There is not a probate judge, a tax commissioner that has their name listed on any government building. Any money that comes in through the government is the government's money. Now, if a constitutional officer wants to use the discretionary funds for their income, they can still do that. This bill does not say that they cannot do that. This bill simply says you have to report to the county the money that you have received. It's only money that's not appropriated. And I yield the will. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So initially, the lawsuit was a federal lawsuit for federal RICO racketeering, way before she decided to do that against Donald Trump.
So you found a RICO lawsuit against FANI WILLIS?
In 2022, federal RICO racketeering lawsuit, yes.
And what happened with that?
So I couldn't find anyone to do the lawsuit for me. Everybody is afraid to do a lawsuit against FANI WILLIS, against Fulton County, because they work in Fulton County.
Mm-hmm.
And Kiana Chanel used to work in the DA's office. She said, this is not what I do. It's very low chances that me filing this lawsuit, just because I don't even know how to do it, it's going to work, but hey, let's give it a shot. So we gave it a shot, and the federal judge ended up coming back and saying, you haven't properly shown how your civil rights were violated, which is interesting because if you guys look at the lawsuits against FANI WILLIS right now, she says in the response, we can't be sued, right? You know, that's one of her responses, we can't be sued. But in my federal lawsuit, she did say that too, but the judge did not come back and say, you can't sue.
Well, here's the thing generally with that point. She's right in one sense, unless what the office holder does is so far outside of the description of the office that that person is no longer protected by the office. You filed all of this before what has developed since we have heard her take the stand during these proceedings, right?
Yes.
Okay, file again, and you note that developments have changed, and you be sure to offer them a copy of that recording. That recording is of essence primary evidence.
They wouldn't even take it.
Both of them. Well, the point is now I think they would, because what you need to do is simply publish it in your local newspaper. And since you are an elected official,
I'll take it.
You can publish it on your official record. There has been an effort to deal with corruption in this county, and some people are attempting to protect it. And you post every damn thing, unless there is a law specifically forbidding you to do so. you posted on the record of your agency that you were elected to as to what they're doing to attempt to collaborate with and protect her. That would rock them wide open.
It doesn't work. And for me, I'm lucky, but I also had 4 knives pulled on me at once. I had knives put to my throat, and I had to call my mom telling them, please wire somebody some money or I'm gonna be killed. Nobody should be subject to that at a jail where you're supposed to be waiting to get your day in court. And that just does not work for the inmates at Fulton County Jail.
Chief law enforcement executive in the county. The second, run the jail. And third, protect the courts. Because I will not lose the court. Don't be disingenuous when you look at 19 inmates, not even inmates, indictments that brought worldwide attention to Fulton County, and we didn't miss a beat because of those very units, because of the jail staff that works tirelessly. So you sitting up there like you didn't have breakfast with me, and I didn't explain all of this to you, is disingenuous. So you can take all the theater and go elsewhere. I brought that detainee in here because he said he had something to say, because some commissioners won't come visit and have that conversation. I'm with each of you. We'll give you a bed space so you can see what it's like. I have done nothing but from day one, try and improve the conditions in the Fulton County Jail and Fulton County Sheriff's Office as a whole. So you act like y'all rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic is something that is culpable. It is absolutely not. So let me tell you, my friend from the North, who you think that nothing happens without your tax dollars. Because we had this conversation. You got me disingenuous and you got me messed up. See, I can bring all the SWATs out in the Southwest Atlanta so you can have all of that. Understand this. I'm not going to let you take me there because my mama taught me better. But you're telling not the truth. You know it like I know it. So you can take that.
Hold on. He said, you're telling not the truth. You're telling not the truth.
I'll reduce it to writing because my mama taught me better. But you're telling not the truth. You know it like I know it. So you can take that. I'll reduce it to writing. The one thing that you and Commissioner Khadijah asked for in that resolution that made no sense was a report. If you pull up the sheriff's app, almost everything you asked for is at your fingertips. But see, here's the difference between me being able to have a genuine conversation with other members of the board. At least they are honest about what they do.
What we're seeing right now, Marcos Lopez, the suspended sheriff of Osceola County, he made his first court appearance.
What about this, though? I don't hear them talking big on these RICOs. Maybe this coming up for them. This is sheriff. This is sheriff in the county not so far away, Tampa, Florida.
Appearance via Zoom from jail this morning on felony racketeering charges. You're watching this video right now. Lopez was taken into custody yesterday in his uniform. Look at that. So now for more on what he's charged with, we're going to bring into the conversation our friend and colleague there at Fox 35 Orlando, reporter Marie Edinger. She joins me. Marie, so good of you to be with us here. I would say this was quite shocking. We've covered a lot of arrests in a lot of places, but not many for law enforcement in particular. What's going on?
Rock solid. What up, though? Oh, shit. My bad.
Sure. So the sheriff, as you mentioned, has charges for racketeering, also conspiracy to commit racketeering. Those are both first-degree felonies. Each could come with up to 30 years in prison. The Department of Homeland Security actually led this investigation. It's the Attorney General for the state of Florida who is leading the charges, though. The investigation stems around an illegal gambling house that the sheriff is accused of essentially running. So he is accused of having a number of slot machines there, of running a lottery out of it. This is all taking place in Kissimmee, which is in his district. But the investigators say that it also spanned into Lake County. That's where he is in jail right now. The investigators also say that he used his position as sheriff in order to further the gambling station's profits and to obstruct obstruct an investigation. There's actually some mention made by prosecutors today about him showing up at or during an investigation while deputies were there at the gambling house and interfering. So those are allegations they're making as well. Today, he pleaded not guilty. That just came down maybe 20 minutes ago through the court system. He was given a $1 million bail, $500,000 for each of those. I talked with a criminal defense attorney who told me today that in order to post that bail, he'd have to give a bail bondsman $100,000, and he'd have to cover $900,000 in collateral to cover the $1 million total for the bond. The judge said today that in order to post bail or to post bond, that he would have to prove to the court that none of the money that he is posting came from anything having to do with illicit activity. So he has to have a court date first in order to prove that, or to prove that to the state. So he could be here for quite a while.
The man who, up until yesterday, served as the sheriff of Osceola County, today appeared before a judge wearing jailhouse orange.
How do I start the bond process?
The judge set Sheriff Marcos Lopez's bond at $1 million. A criminal defense attorney told me today he was shocked by that.
Why do you feel it's excessive?
It's not meant to punish someone. The amount of a bond is to make sure that someone does not, it's not a flight risk.
Prosecutors argued the nature and circumstances of the case justify the bond, and the judge agreed. The state claims they have texts, WhatsApp messages, wire transfers, and more, proving the sheriff earned $600,000 to $700,000 in this alleged criminal enterprise. And they say they have photos that don't just show he was at the gambling house, but that he used his position as the sheriff to obstruct a criminal investigation there.
An extreme breach of public trust. The circumstances surrounding his misuse of office as the sheriff of Osceola County are very serious.
2 of the 4 co-defendants also had their first appearances today. Carol Cote was up first.
I have 3 young, small children.
She was given a $100,000 bond. She's already posted that and been released. Next up,
Sharon Denise Fedrick.
Sharon Fedrick's criminal history is messy. She has tons of charges and a few convictions for things like identity theft, grand theft, organized fraud, and that's not all.
8 felony grand thefts in Lee County from 1993. She also has federal history.
She did 2 years in federal prison for lying to the IRS back in 2005. She's been in and out of jail in Orange County since 2016. She was just arrested again 2 months ago for 3 active warrants out of Orange County. You want to guess where deputies caught her? The Eclipse, the gambling house at the center of this investigation.
Miss Fedrick remains in custody in Lake County. Well, that makes it difficult for her to appear in Orange County. So there's a fair logistical problem there.
The judge didn't buy that argument. Fedrick got a $300,000 bail. The judge said today that if Sheriff Lopez is able to bond out, he would have to wear an ankle monitor. He'd have to turn over his passport. He would have to turn over his guns as well, and would not be allowed any contact with any of the 4 co-defendants. As I mentioned, 2 appeared in court today, but 2 have not yet been booked into the Lake County Jail. So we're getting
I'm gateway, man. Don't waste my motherfucking time on no bullshit.
Check this out. What can I get for this?
You think I look like a pawn shop, man? Is that what you got pawn shop written on my forehead?
Come on, DJ. Fuck with me, DJ.
I'm here today to fight for my reputation, to fight for the youth of Fulton County, but also for the truth.
On the agenda, we're not going to deal with it. Although when I met with Commissioner Morris and Commissioner Hall and Commissioner Hausman, they all said, but you told us about this in January. Exactly. And since January, we've been doing the work. See, if my people treat any one of you like this, this is what they can each tell you. They're going to be fired that day. I'll deal with the consequences later.
I'm here today to fight for my reputation, to fight for the youth of Fulton County, but also for the truth.
Everybody wants to move the goalpost when we get to the end. Ain't your money. Ain't your money. Ain't your money. Ain't your money. It's been approved here, and I'm going to spend it accordingly. And the next time, Miss Whitmore, and I've sent you emails, and I appreciate you responding. Eventually, and let me be clear, when I sign my name as the sheriff, which one of y'all, when you sign something on your staff, write a check, Miss Whitmore and her team rejects? Because we just haven't done it that way. When I work a deal to get a Bearcat so that I don't have an MRAP breakdown on Georgia 400 on the way to a SWAT call, where a guy has been charged with killing 28 people. Ends up killing himself. My MRAP sitting on the side of the road. But I put a plan together, following the rules. Mr. County Manager, I appreciate it. We have a relationship. That's what this county's not used to. We talk 2-3 times a week. We talk, and I appreciate that. But what we have is a bad culture. And we need to figure out how to fix it. When I signed something, I was elected to do it. I'm gonna manage my budget, I promise you. But don't tell me that these salary savings I can't use to do other things proactively. When I've heard for 2 years, I ran for 2 years, and what you heard was the sheriff just didn't really come to the board. He didn't talk. I would encourage you to understand this, and this is not you all's fault, let me be clear. Because as I've churned and overturned Plymouth Rock, what I found is the rock, you all's fault, let me be clear. Because as I've churned and overturned Plymouth Rock, what I found is the rock landed on you. You didn't land on Plymouth Rock. And so what you were getting was bad.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Yo, shout out to FFS. He said, hey, y'all hear him? He said, the rock didn't land on you. We didn't land on the rock. I don't even know what he said. I can't even repeat that shit. That shit sounded so retarded. The rock didn't land on you. We landed on Plymouth Rock, something like that. Yo, what did he say? Peace, family. Welcome back to Flesh of the God.
For a quick interview to talk about the YSL case coming to a wrap-up really quick.
It's not wrapped up.
It's about to be, though. Could we maybe talk about...
I'm here today to fight for my reputation, to fight for the youth of Fulton County, but also for the truth.
On the agenda, we're not going to deal with it. Although when I met with Commissioner Morris and Commissioner Hall and Commissioner Hausman, they all said, but you told us about this in January. Exactly. And since January, we've been doing the work. See, if my people treat any one of you like this, this is what they can each tell you. They're going to be fired that day. I'll deal with the consequences later.
I'm here today to fight for my reputation, to fight for the youth of Fulton County, but also for the truth.
Of playing you all's games in finance, because that's all they are. Everybody wants to move the goalpost when we get to the end. Ain't your money, ain't your money, ain't your money, your money, your money, ain't your money, ain't your money. It's been approved here, and I'm going to spend it accordingly. Sitting on the side of the road. But I put a plan together, following the rules. Mr. County Manager, I appreciate it. We have a relationship. That's what this county's not used to. We talk 2-3 times a week. We talk, and I appreciate that. But what we have is a bad culture. And we need to figure out how to fix it. When I signed something, I was elected to do it. I'm gonna manage my budget, I promise you. But don't tell me that these salary savings I can't use to do other things proactively. When I've heard for 2 years, I ran for 2 years, and what you heard was the sheriff just didn't really come to the board. He didn't talk. I would encourage you to understand this, and this is not you all's fault, let me be clear. Because as I've churned and overturned Plymouth Rock, what I found is the rock landed on you. You didn't land on Plymouth Rock. And so with Plymouth Rock, what I found is the rock landed on you. You didn't land on Plymouth Rock. And so what you were getting was bad information. And so when I come to you and tell you that I got a K-9 unit that in the middle of a search, the unit goes bad, we got to borrow one from Clayton County because it doesn't have air conditioning. My dogs deserve better. That in the middle of a search, the unit goes bad, we got to borrow one from Clayton County because it doesn't have air conditioning. That I got a K-9 unit. That in the middle of a search, the unit goes bad, we got to borrow one from Clayton County because it doesn't have air conditioning. My dogs deserve better. When I tell you, and again, thank you, I appreciate the conversations around the jail. And I appreciate the passion in which the county commission has said to the city, we got to do better.
Shut up. Shut up. I'm talking.
Just a minute.
You're not talking to me.
Shut
You're
up.
not talking to me.
Shut up. I'm talking.
Make me.
I'm talking.
Make me.
It's my time. I'm talking.
Make me.
It's my time.
Make
It's
me.
my time.
Make me shut up.
It's my time.
I didn't think so.
Yeah.
I created a traffic unit made up of individuals now who have to move gang members back and forth to court. Don't be disingenuous and tell me what my core value, my core operational need is when I have 3 constitutional responsibilities. Count them, 3. And you can look that up while you're looking up everything else. The first one being the chief law enforcement executive in the county. The second, run the jail. And third, protect the courts. Because I will not lose the court. Don't be disingenuous when you look at 19 inmates, not even inmates, indictments that brought worldwide attention to Fulton County, and we didn't miss a beat because of those very units, because of the jail staff that works tirelessly. So you sitting up there like you didn't have breakfast with me, and I didn't explain all of this to you, is disingenuous. So you can take all the theater and go elsewhere. I brought that detainee in here because he said he had something to say, because some commissioners won't come visit and have that conversation. I'm with each of you. We'll give you a bed space so you can see what it's like. I have done nothing but from day one, try and improve the conditions in the Fulton County Jail and Fulton County Sheriff's Office as a whole.
The next interrogatory, let's move there. That interrogatory states as follows: identify any and all occasions in which you entertain a member of the opposite sex other than your spouse who is not related to you by blood or marriage. You see that? I do. Now, there are 2 parts to this. The second part is, I read on, or in which a member of the opposite sex other than your spouse, not related to you by blood or marriage, entertained you. And then it goes on to say, including but not limited to dining, drinking in restaurants, bars, pubs, hotels. You see that, correct? I do. Now, as of May the 30th, 2023, when you filed this interrogatory, you had in fact entertained Ms. Willis on many occasions, had you not?
Again, during the course of the marriage was irretrievably broken in 2015. Well, the answer's still no.
Let's read what the interrogatory says about the time period required to answer the interrogatory. Because what it says is, it goes on to say, including but not limited to dining and or drinking at any restaurants, bars, pubs, hotels, or persons' homes from the date of marriage to the present. You understand what the word present means? I do.
Hey, yo, brown sugar babe. What up, though? You understand what the word present means? I do.
Just a hot mess. Good morning to everybody. We're going to look at a news article with some more context here, get the story. It's going to be a short one. Flesh of the Gods, good to see you. Good to see you. Flesh of the Gods did all this work getting all the lore on YSL and any potential beefs or rumored hybrid gang split-offs. Like, he had all the lore. And it was such important context. And then FANI's just like, never mind, we're just going to throw this case to the wind. Like, all that work, Flesh of the Gods, it was worth it for us. Thank you for doing it.
First, looking at 25C. First, is that the apartment complex?
Yes.
No. Is it yes or no? Sorry.
I can't tell.
I'm a senior. I'm an elder, mother, grandmother, and grandmother, great-grandmother. And I'm a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ. What is going on with you all? You all have the love of Jesus in you. And one day, if you get my age, and your children are going to say, why did you do justice? Because you had it in the power of your hands, children. Listen. God is good to us. We're in America. I was born on the 4th of July. My mother was a farmer. We worked hard in the cotton field, $6 a day. We prayed for you all to get jobs, to come into our arena, to do what's right. I was at the jail and I seen how the children were suffering there. I was out there by myself praying with them and how they were suffering and going on. I can hear in my ears the pain and suffering. It's time for you to get up out of these chairs and go and see what's going on with our tax dollars. My ancestors, the first black millionaire, Madam C.J. Walker, the Breedlove family. We own our own town in South Georgia. We're the biggest farmers in the South. We help people. I'm a 43-year missionary. I have traveled the land and seen so many people hungry and hurt, girls on the street. Even today, I got to feed today. Come on, people. Sure, you all are special. You all have within your hands to write it and do it. Get up and do something. Chairman, I voted you and pray for you. Marvin M. to many of you. Well, I'm looking for you to do your job. God bless you.
Hey, yo, shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate y'all, family.
And pray for you. Marvin M. to many of you. I'm looking for you to do your job. God bless you.
Yo, yo, yo.
Let me see how rich you are. I got money.
Shout out Lucy in the building, I see you. Brown Sugar Babe, I see you. Joni Ford, what up though? I see you joining in, appreciate you. FFS, appreciate the support. No One, appreciate the support. Chan My Black is Golden, appreciate the support. Cha Diggy, appreciate the support. Jazzy T, appreciate the support. Late Night Bacon with Mookie Mookie, appreciate the support. FFS, No One, Lucy, I see y'all in the building. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to our sponsors.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Watch the Rise, Charlie Hager, appreciate y'all. Bo, appreciate you. Bernicia Williams, appreciate you. TC, appreciate you. Much love, y'all have a great night. Aubrey Yah, appreciate you. Tammy Lewis, Factual Lie, gotta include Factual Lie. And not the last, not the least, but the first, Chan My Black is Golden. I appreciate you, Queen. Much love, much love. I'm about to see you in about 5 seconds. More like 5 minutes, but yeah, it's gonna feel like 5 seconds to me. Either way, y'all have a great night. I appreciate y'all joining. Appreciate you tapping in. Until next time, stay fresh and stay blessed. Peace.
Chasing down my goals, I self-law am master, supernatural disaster, metaphysical reaction.
first ones when we slide in the streets. We all stay home at a club jumping. What up, cousin? I see you, fam. Throwing slime coins when I watch the trial. LEOs be capping, chatting that shit. Come and tap in the most interactive.
Love, peace, and joy. Oh, hold on, Jazzy T. Shout out to Jazzy T. Can't forget Jazzy T. Hold on.
Scared every rap in. If you like us, gon' get the lights up. So you can share, tell them pack in. Feeling left, right, front to the passenger side. It's right here, the premiere. How you know? Cause them boys broadcast to the live. Wanna talk about it? Hit the link right here. Slide coins up, got 100 bands. Mars eyes, watch how the check. And the band made love to a bobblehead. Too bad, do a dance like check. I'ma keep going.
Have a good night. Have a good night. Have a motherfucking good ass night.
Like, what you mean? Just watch the rise. Watch the rise. Watch the rise.
I am the flesh. I am the God. I am the flesh. I am the God. Flesh of the gods. I am the flesh. I am the God. I am the flesh. I am the God.
Have a good night. Have a good night. Have a motherfucking good ass night.